Guys and girls, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Bradley Marchant tuning in live from the studio. I just want to take the time to appreciate every single one of you jumping on to this weekly live call. Just in case you can't tell by the bags that are carrying my shopping and yours, I'm absolutely knackered right now. So I'm going to need some extra love in the chat, some extra comments, some extra engagement so that we can get this call live, rocking and rolling. So if you can hear me loud and clear, just do me a favor and let me know you can hear me in the chat, and then we will get underway. I'm not going to get started until we've got a couple of likes, a couple of comments, a couple of subs out of you guys, because I know that there's 25, 26, 27 of us on here right now, and I want to make sure that you guys are tuning in, you're listening in, you're ready to go. And I don't know why I'm looking down here when I'm looking up there. So tonight's call, I'm going to do a little bit of a recap about the event that we hosted on Saturday. I'm going to talk about the boot camp. I'm going to break down the chart that we've currently got on gold. And I'm also going to answer some of your questions in here as well. So for those of you who have been under a rock for the last week, 2 weeks, we hosted an event in Leeds on Saturday. And I just want to let you know that I hate the UK, right? Waking up on that Saturday morning to 2, 3, 4 inches of snow is not what I wanted, right? But I appreciate every single one of you who turned up, who made the trek, who committed to coming to the event. It was for me, I think it was a fantastic event. It relit a spark underneath me that I've not felt since 2020, 2021. So off the event there, we covered a lot around the mindset, the psychology, broke down support and resistance. We broke break and retest. We did imbalance. We talked about like how market structure works. And for those of you who are watching this, you will see with inside the Telegram community right now, we do have a new trader. And I said this to you all at the event on Saturday, the risk to reward is going to get better. We're going to start to focus on you guys growing your account and making sure that this is something that for the long-term perspective, you can get great growth out of. So again, before we go into this, everything that I say is not financial advice. It's for educational purposes only. Past profits do not guarantee future results. And I am not a financial advisor. So even though I'm a little bit reckless, so even though I'm buying meme coins, so even though I'm buying into cryptocurrency, whatever you hear and say me do not copy, unless you decide to do it yourself. So again, we appreciate every single one of you jumping on here right now, tuning in. Yes, I've got my lucky shirt on. This is on a rotation between this and 2 others. Tonight, it's a little bit warmer here in Marbella. So I've got the short sleeve on. If it's a little bit colder, I'll have the long sleeve on. So we're in good weather season right now. We're still rocking 20, 21, 22, 23 degrees, as opposed to the 1s and the 2s back home in the UK. So as I said, from the UK event, this is something that we're going to build on. We're going to get to a point with this where, we're hosting these month in, month out, and it might not always be in Leeds. It might sometimes be in Manchester. It might be in London. It might be in Liverpool. But to begin with, I'm from Leeds and I fly into Leeds, Bradford. So it's going to be in Leeds. So for those of you who might have to travel, you might have to book some Airbnbs. You might have to book some places to stay. I do apologize. But again, everything we do inside this community has absolutely zero cost. There's no monthly subscription. There's no setup fee. There's no, anything like that. Everything that we do has zero cost. And we're here to help you grow your account, help you here to learn. And the biggest feedback that I got from the event on Saturday, and again, for those of you who, are talking in right now on this channel, I'd love for your opinion on this as well. But the biggest thing was tying the mindset in to how the psychology of the trading works. And for those of you just really, really quickly that are asking about the wizard, nothing has happened to him. It's just that the style of trading that he was doing, and again, you guys can comment on this as well. Like we had win. 85% to 92% was the average win rate within inside the community. So you picture this, 85 to 92% win rate, and we still had people losing money on their account, right? This isn't a reflection of him as a trader. It's just his style of trading. Because if we hit 30 to 50 pips, 30 to 50 pips, 30 to 50 pips, and we have 2, 3, 4 losing trades on the bounce, the profit that you've had ends up going down. And most people aren't holding the trade until take profit 3, take profit 4, take profit 5, which I'm going to break down, on this call tonight as well. So again, there's 51 of you on here right now. I want to see at least 30 likes. 30. That's all I'm asking. So we're on 7 right now. I want to see some more likes. The more engagement we get on this channel, the more I can do it, the more I can perform. And right now, there's only a few likes, so my energy is low. Okay. I'm joking. There we go. Straight. Look at that. I doubled. It tripled. It's weird that I have to ask you guys to do this. We're here every week in, week out. I'm pouring my blood, my sweat, my tears into you guys. And I can't even get a fucking like. Joking. So, event is done. Boxed. We're going to have more events coming up. We're going to have more things ready to go for you guys. The biggest thing that I'm building and working on right now is the boot camp. So, the boot camp is something that I'm excited about because it's made me relive the charts again. For 3, maybe 4 years, I took a heavy step away from doing chart work, doing analysis, doing breakdowns, actually understanding how the markets move because I was focusing on other areas of my life, other business ventures, the podcast studio's up and running. I had other things that I was building that I was focusing on. Whereas right now, I'm able to dive back into the charts. And it's very, very weird that almost once you've kind of learned to ride a bike, you can start to do this on autopilot. So when we broke down the charts at the event on Saturday, I was like, look, this is what I predict to happen. This is what I see, yada, yada, yada. Guess what happens on market open Sunday evening, 10 p.m.? We have a 700 pip drop. So again, even if some of you had just paid the slightest attention at that, maybe not all of you are awake on market open, maybe some of you don't like trading the Asia session, whatever it is, but I'm going to break down with you tonight exactly how you could have caught that. And I'm also going to add all of this and cram this into a boot camp because I want this to be an ever-evolving thing for you guys who are active, who are trading. If you're watching this right now and you're currently active, just write in the chat active. I want you to let me know if you're active trading, if you're actively placing trades, if you're actively following what's going in with inside the Telegram community, because we're going to keep you up to date with absolutely everything that we're doing. Every trade, every analysis, every overview, every win, every loss, because with inside signals, you can't hide. There's some of you that are absolute hawks that are watching everything to the minor detail. So we want to make sure that you guys who are in here are making money, you're growing with us, you're winning with us, and you're also, more importantly, losing with us. Because if there's no losses with inside trading, if you're not losing on the financial markets, it's plain sailing. No one is going to ever have that experience. And that's why I love losing, right? This sounds so, counterproductive, but this is why I also don't trade demo accounts. I had a lot of people ask me on Saturday, Bradley, what's your thoughts on demo accounts? Should I trade demo? Should I open a demo account? I've lost money. Should I go back onto a demo account? The answer is no. Because if you cannot trade with a 300, 500, 700 pound account, you will never, ever get to a point with this where you're making a lot of money from trading. If you can't handle your emotions behind a small account, you will never get to a point where you're hosting a multiple 5, 6-figure account. And, we talk about certain things that work and that don't work. But for me, the basics are what's going to help you get to a point with this where you make good money. I talked about it at the event again. 5% of this game is trading. It's pressing the buttons. It's understanding things. The other part of it, the other 95% is the psychology. It's your mindset. It's your discipline. It's how you think. It's how you speak. It's how you act. It's how you are as a person. So if naturally you're quite scared about things, you're going to attract that. And, on Saturday, people were like, Bradley, why do you talk about the same thing? Last live, why do you talk about the same thing? It's because it's relevant today as it is tomorrow, as it is next week, as it is the week after. So as we all get through this point, when you're getting into this where you're starting off with an account, if you've got £300 in there, treat it as if it's already a £300,000 account. Because we talked about, if you had a house right now that was worth 200, 300,000 and you 3x that and you sold it, would you be happy with 600K profit, 400K profit? Let me know in the chat. Would you be happy right now if your current house tripled, quadrupled, 5x, 10x from whatever it's currently valued at to a point where it 10x's? If the answer to that is yes, The reason that that floats your boat and tickles your fancy a little bit more is because the capital that would bring back, the return, the ROI, is a lot heavier. It's a lot tastier. But when you get a 10x return on a £500 account, that's still $5,000. But you don't see that £4,500 profit as an actual win to you because it still doesn't change your life too much. It might not pay all of the debt. It might not pay all of the outgoings that you have. But if you start to treat that as if it's already that, eventually that 5 becomes 50K. Eventually that 50K becomes 500K, so on and so on. This might take you 5 years, might take you 10 years. But the vast majority of the population spend their time day in, day out, week in, week out, going and doing things that they don't enjoy anyway. So what if you have that longevity mindset and the fixed term mindset that eventually whatever you're speaking about, whatever you're saying will come to pass, right? So that's where we broke down on Saturday about adding that type of stuff into the boot camp, because you have to think long term in this. You can't look at your current situation, your previous losses. If I'd have done that, I'd have never traded again. Blowing 40 odd grand fucked my life for a long time, emotionally, psychologically, everything. Like, I became a recluse for a long time. I got into a hole. I become a very weird person for a very short period of time. And if that's you right now, where you've lost 1,000, it hurts. You've lost 2,000, it hurts. Don't let it happen again. Start off with what you can afford, to do. So as you go through this, not sure, again, someone's just put there, I'm not showing my losses. But again, I would, if I was you, make a note of that today on this call, how much you have lost to the penny, right? And I want you all to do this, in fact. Get a notepad, get a pen after this call, and I want you to write down how much you've lost trading. And I want you to write down how that makes you feel. Because emotions are what drives us to do better. It's what pushes us to get to that next level, to break us paradigm, if you will. So understanding the emotion, the thought, the feeling, exactly everything behind your trading journey so far is what will help you, get there. Someone's wrote 4,500 down, 1,700 down, 6,600 down, 65K down, right? But if you don't understand that will eventually become 650K. It'll eventually become 45,000. It'll eventually become 1,700, 70,000. It doesn't matter how good the results are, the signals are. It doesn't matter how good the analysis is. You're still the problem. And this sounds super personal. It might sound like I'm attacking you. It might sound like, I'm being a little bit too real and raw, but it's the case. You could go and you could get $1 million investment, right, from someone who doesn't need the money back. You'd blow it. Fact. And it would be gone relatively quickly because you would still act how you are today. So if we jump into how you're thinking about things, how you're breaking things down, the money that you're losing, why is that? Because if you're looking at your current debts, your current outgoings, your current bills, your current things that you've got going on right now, and that is driving you to trade a certain way, you probably shouldn't be trading. You probably shouldn't be pressing buy or sell. And I guarantee that you're entering at the wrong time. You're over leveraging, you're over trading, you're getting greedy. You're not closing when trades are in blue. You're not closing when advised to. You're thinking, I'll be able to just get a bit more out of this. I'll be able to take a little bit more out of this. I'll be able to get a bit more money. And then what happens is the trade sinks, it hits a stop loss, and you've got 24 trades on, and you blow your account. You lose your money again and 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 again. And before you know it, you think like giving up. You feel like giving up. You're like, man, this isn't for me. I revenge traded. I shouldn't have done this. I over leveraged. I put more trades on. I shouldn't have done that. And before you know it, you end up in a world of pain, buys and sells. The market's going against you. It's doing this. It's doing that. And you're in a pickle because you don't know what to do anymore, because you haven't got an outlet. You haven't got a voice to speak to. And that's why, for us, we want to keep the analysis so clean. Want you guys to be able to follow this to an absolute T. So if we look at the charts, right? I'm going to go through this with you real quick. I'm going to show you, the charts from what we broke down at the event. And I'm going to share this on my screen here. I don't know why it sounded like that. Screen, if you can let me know, if you can, just drop a 1 in the chat, say chart, say, hey, break it down, let me know, right? So when we go onto here, I broke down at the event the support, I broke down resistance, I broke down that there is support and resistance happening all the time, right? I brought down break, retest, and I brought down the trade having 5 moves, either side typically, and then doing its thing, right? So I brought down support and resistance. I brought down break and retest. I brought down the pushes, and I also brought down what we call imbalance, right? So hopefully everyone can see my screen right now. I've just flicked back to the other view, but I know you can. So if we look at this here, we always start off on the daily time frame. Again, this is going to be inside of the boot camp. But if we look at the daily time frame and we break this down, let me just make sure I've got everything closed here, because I can feel my laptop lagging a little bit because it's a MacBook. So if we look at this and we break down exactly what I spoke about, we have support and resistance levels. If we just do this really, really quickly, right? Again, for those of you who are at the event, in fact, I print screen this on my laptop. So let me just stop sharing seconds, because I print screen this at the event. I remember this. I remember saying, I'm going to print screen this. I'm going to share it. So the event was on what day? Let me have a look on here, because I remember print screen this thinking this will be great to say when it does what I say. Let me go back. Hopefully the print screen happened. We'll list this as a list going back from the 20, was it the, what day of it? November, was it? The weekend, right? 20, what date was the event on, guys? Someone help me out in the chat. 23rd. What day is it today? 27th. So the 23rd of November needs to be. Find this on here. There we go. Oh, look at this, right? I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Jesus. Entire screen. Window. And just go anywhere. Okay, right. So if we go to this, this was what I broke down at the event on, no, it wasn't. This was the 23rd. Let me go back to my my screenshots on here, right? 23rd of November. Yeah, it was this one. Yeah, so we broke down here that we could see price reject from here and then come all the way down, okay? Just drop a 1 in the chat if you guys remember me posting and talking about that. Those of you who weren't at the event, right, you might not have seen this. But I broke down to a T this trade. And this just goes to show how important it is to understand all of this. So when we look at this now, so I go back to the 23rd, okay? I'm going to go back into replay mode. So we go back, we'll go a day. This is exactly where that photo was. So you can see that we spoke about, if we'll just look at this as a very, very basic thing, we had here, and we can have here. Probably you a little bit more there, to be fair. And then we can have this here, okay? That's on a big, big, big scale. So when we broke down this trade here, what we looked at was we looked at the push, the pullback, the push, the pullback, the push. So when we looked at this trade, we talked about higher highs and higher lows. So this here was a higher high. This here, higher high, higher low, higher high. What we were looking for there is this trade to come back down. If it didn't break here and it stopped there, for example, we could have seen the trade push. However, what we saw was the trade break structure. This was the last significant low that was intact. So if we look at this here, we see that this was the last low. This was the last high. So now that price has broken all the way down, this has now become a low. So we've now got a lower low coming into potentially a lower high. So now what we can expect to see, and I broke this down on the charts, is low, into high, into low. Okay? But now we've got that. This is exactly how it played out to a T on Saturday. Bradley, we can't see anything. Bro, you're in darkness. What? Sharing. Hello? Can you see me? Let me know now. Hello? Can you see me okay? Now I see. Okay, back. Let's go on to screen share. You don't need to see me, by the way. I don't care about my face on this. Okay, what about now? Can you see me now? Hello? Put some waves in the chat. Perfect. There we go. So, on this chart here, when price had broken down into here, which was this bit, this became a new low. Price then had to come back up. But what we saw here on the daily time frame was imbalance. One strong push of a candle down, which led to structure getting broken, which was this bit here. So then when price comes all the way back up, we then identify two key areas. We identify here, because that's a gap in the market. We identified this bit here. Okay, does that make sense? So when we have the pushes, when we talk about the pushes, we go up, down, up, down, up, okay? Then if price was to stop here, we could expect price to continue to the upside, okay? Then come back down, then go up. But like I said, because price broke below, we can now expect price to push back up because we've broken this last low, which was significant, which was also potentially a support or resistance level. Does that make sense? Drop a 1 in the chat. If that makes sense in the chat, drop a 1. So we have support, resistance, we have break and retest, and we also have levels of imbalance, right? So don't forget, this is a daily time frame. So the stop loss on this, the moves on this are pretty significant. Like that there over 5 days is, you know, from that low is like a lot of pips. It's like 2,000 pips, right? 1,800 pips to be exact. So if we know that that can happen over 5 days and we're expecting the trade, this was what I marked out. I said that trade can react from here, stop loss above the high, and we can target back down to the previous lows. So what we're going to do is a very, very basic Fibonacci, right? We can expect price to retrace back between 60 to 89%, their key zones, and then we target back down to these previous levels, okay? So if we look here on the bigger time frame, what do all of these have in common when we look at it, okay? If we just go to 61%, price rejected at that area. We go to minus 41%, price rejected at that area. We go to 27%, price rejected at that area, okay? So we can get used to working in what we call zones. So now at 0%, what have we got? Price bouncing, maybe a little bit of a gap, right? But we've still got a bit of imbalance there. So the market needs to come back down here to collect the buys that got put in here, but it's then left a gap up here for potential future sells. So what we can actually look at is this bit here, right? If we just go and delete all of this off of here, what we can see is that price broke this low. We had levels of imbalance here. So we can look for price to come into here, typically around 50%. So if you want to go onto a Gantt chart here, Gantt box, you can see 50% exactly. Hello. Then what happens? We drop down to the 4-hour time frame. We can see a solid level, resistance, break, retest, push. Price comes back up. What happens? At this bit here, we could have done a very, very simple trade. Again, this is more of a swing trade, so a little bit of a longer position. So your stop losses might have been a little bit heavier on this. That's a 300 pip stop on this. So you probably might never have taken this trade. But it just shows the understanding that this is a long-term play to come back down, even just back to these lows. That there is a 1 to 5. What if it takes a week? What if it takes a month? What if it takes a year? But what if you start to get, down to these last significant lows where the Fibonacci was, right? So when we go low to high to low, sorry, we know that potentially this trade has the legs to go down here, just based off of that. So you might have initially missed this trade. Okay. You might have initially missed this trade and it might not have gone with you because the market opened. And if we look at what happened when we go to the larger time frames, go to 4 hour, zoom in, market opened, solid reaction. Okay. So then once you get a reaction like that, what you can then do is look to scale into that trade. So within this push, you can then jump into the smaller time frames and see where could you have entered. So here is a smaller version of the bigger version. So low, high, low, high, push, breaks the low. We have a very, very simple break and retest here on the small time frame. So this could have been your trade, right? You could have had an entry position there, stop loss above the high, and then you could have targeted down to previous lows. Okay, that's if you miss the trade. So understanding this on all time frames is where you'll eventually get your bigger growth. Okay, does this make sense? Drop a 1 in the chat if this is making sense. If you're understanding it, just let me know. I want you to be fully on board with this with me. I can see the chat. I can't see any movement just yet. Let me start in. Okay. Missed the analysis. There we go. The ones are coming through. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. So when we get into this, this is where we start to see the... So then if we look at this here, that trade there from where we broke it down has ended up dropping how many pips? From where we said it did 1,100 pips from top to bottom, 1,161. Okay. But then when we look at this here, right, because the trades cannot just go down, up, down, up, down, up. It can't do that. It has to have, it can't just drop, sorry. It has to have down, up, down, up. So if we look at this bit here, if we start to dig into this bit, we could have actually caught multiple positions, right? So we had down, up, down. Trade didn't stop below here to push down. Price broke structure, came down and pushed. So knowing this area here potentially becomes an area to trade. We have a level where price pushes, breaks structure. The last up candle that broke this level of high here, okay, this level here, you can see high got broken. So now what we're seeing, push, down, push, down, push, coming back down into here. So now we could see that coming back up into these levels. So if you wanted to trade this, and again, this isn't financial advice, don't take this trade unless you understand it, but this could be your trade. Stop losses below, take profits to the high, or even take profits up to here, right? So if we look at this trade, there could be two trades potentially if it happens, and you've got that there. So understanding, so very, very simple break and retest, because what we're having here again is a break and a retest of levels of support and resistance. So draw this on. This level here gets hit a lot. What we're expecting to see now, price will either bounce off or it'll bounce down. If it breaks down, we'll expect this. If it pushes up, we'll see this. potentially, you know? Understanding all of this. Oh my God. What's going on my screen? Can't see anything. Can't see anything. Can't see my screen. Can't see anything. Block screen. This is where I need someone in-house who's looking at my shit that's going on, right? Fucking tapping away on his laptop, not watching what's going on. Fucking useless. It's all right saying look at the chat, but if you guys could see what I see when I'm doing my stuff, watch it. In fact, I'm going to show you. Right? And you're ringing me on this is even worse. You're ringing me while I'm on live. Like, doesn't make any sense to do. Fucking try and share screen, he says. Punch him in his throat after this. See my screen now. Fucking thumbs up me. Right. This was all just bullshit now because I don't know where my point was. Okay. So, where was I? 1 hour time frame. Very simple. We see the chart push down. My internet's having a bit of a mare here as well. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Now, yes, we can. Amazing. Good stuff. So, if we see here, right, price pushes, pulls back, pushes, and then we have the breaker structure of this bit here, which then comes back down, breaks, comes back down, runs. So when we look at this as a potential entry on a chart, we can see here that this was the last significant low, and this was the last significant high, right? Let me know if that makes sense in the chat. I can still see you guys going back and forth. Okay, that makes sense, right? So you can see the last high, the last low. Price breaks the high, forms a new low. So we can see here now that this is the last bit of structure. So we can see price pushed down, broke here, formed a new low. So we've now potentially got the opportunity for price to push up, come back down, and then run again. So when we look at this here, we had price come back down, breaks the high, comes back down, and pushes up. Okay? So as we're doing this from a trading perspective, what we can look for, again, is imbalance. The last push up from this blue candle, which broke this level of structure, we could have had a trade here. We could have put a buy position on. We could have put our stops below the low. And then we can target these highs. Okay, that makes sense? Okay. Then we've got levels up here. So if we look at these trades of what's going on, we could see that these are the levels where price has a huge influx of money and then a push down. Huge influx of money, push down. So now that we've seen that this is a level here of support and resistance, potentially, which it is, resistance, 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 breaks it, becomes the support. Now, we're also seeing a push to the upside and a break. So now we can very, very simply have a buy position here with stop losses below these lows, targeting up to these highs, and also doing the same and targeting up here. Because the price can't have continuous falling. It can't just push to the downside all the time. It can't just push down and down and down and down and down. So if you look at these trades here, if you were to hold these on the smaller time frame, it still looks as if the trade is making its way up. But on the bigger time frame, it has to come and do the moves like we spoke. Come down to come up. Come down to come up. Come down. And anything that happens in between this bit here is technically noise on a larger time frame. So we're seeing, again, great structure. We can be looking for some great buy positions to these highs. And then eventually, this is what I would love to see, is price to come up here have the stops above. Have the stop there, have the entry point there, and then target back down to the lows, because that then will have created a new level of a trade. So we see price come back up, yada, 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 place trades, and then we look for moves back down to 25400. That there becomes a 17-1. So again, I'm going to break all of this down, on the actual channel itself. I'll break it down on the bootcamp. I'm going to break it down so you guys can see exactly how to place the trades, exactly how to enter the market, exactly the stop losses you should be looking at, because what we don't want to be doing within this is you guys having it to a position where you're unsure where levels of structure are. So if you can get used to seeing that the trade goes bump, 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 well, what's it going to do next? It's going to either pull back or keep going, right? So if you can see structure points, if you can see support and resistance, if you can see, the actual break and retest structure that you can see, like, look how easy that was to mark up. Once you've got the eye for it, once you've got the actual system there in place where you can see, right, this is what support looks like. This is what resistance looks like. This is what a break and retest looks like. This is what imbalance looks like. So then once you see this over and over again, all you do is you train your eye to get used to seeing it. You train your eye to get used to entering the trades. And again, you might have a separate account for this where you dummy this, right? You place £500 in there, do it on super small risk, but you set your trades. But this is where you can get your risk to reward insane. And if you coincide this with the trade ideas that we send out, you might see a 60 pip stop loss, a 70 pip stop loss, but you might then learn how to dig deeper into smaller timeframes to then get that precision entry, a small stop loss. You might end up with 10, 15 pip stop losses, 7 pip stop losses, and you end up hitting 30, 40, 50, 100, 300, 500, 1,000 pip trades. So then over and over again, you don't need to take a million trades. You eventually get to that point where you're hitting home runs, you're hitting big swings. But you know that, like, for on my stuff, I used to have a 62% win rate on my trades. But when I lost, it was, I wasn't just risking 1%. I was doing 3, 5, 7, maybe 15% sometimes because I'm a degenerate, right? But then when I did win, I was getting like 7-1s, 15-1s, 13-1s. So higher time frame forms structure. It shows you where the play is going to go longer term. But we broke down on the charts, you might have had to wait from April to November to place a trade on the bigger time frame. No one's waiting that long. Some of you guys aren't going to be here in 6 weeks, let alone 6 months, right? So if you can understand the process and the structure and the system of this, you can understand that the goal with this is for you to learn the skill set eventually. So it's going to take you a little bit of repetition. It's going to take you some time. It's going to take you getting to the point with this where you want to smash your laptop, where the screen goes black, where all the other shit doesn't feel like it's going right. But eventually that light bulb comes on and you're like, fucking hell, it all makes sense. Because if you just saw how easy it was there to break that down, you just saw how easy it was to go through and show that structure and show the very simplistic versions of break and retest, support and resistance, imbalance, structure, zones, key levels, all that other stuff, you will get to a point real quick with this where you're like, man, trading's boring. And that is the goal of where I want to get you guys, is to where you look at a chart, you can mark it up in 5, 10, 15 minutes, you place a trade, buy limit, sell limit, pending orders are key eventually with this, getting you guys to look at it where you're like, right, if it comes to here, boom, it goes to there, I'll enter the trade here. It might wick you out. You might have, what I like to call fuck you candles. Candles come in, they fuck you, take your money, and they go the exact way that you wanted it to go anyway. Drop me a 1 in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you've ever been fucked by a candle. It ends up taking your money and then goes in the direction real quick to where you wanted it to go anyway, right? I have that a lot when it comes to trading. The market goes, clips me out, takes my trade, takes my money, takes my hard-earned cash, and it does a 96 million pip move, and I would have made $10 billion, right? No income claims. There's a lot of you saying, yeah, I agree. But again, it's all part of the process, because once that happened, you get used to seeing it. You get used to, the liquidity runs. You get used to seeing all the order blocks and everything like that. And again, once you get used to it, there's more layers to this game. There's more trading. There's more skill set. There's more knowledge. There's more this. There's more that. So we want to get you guys to a point with this where you're learning, you're growing, you're getting better. You're understanding the markets a little bit more. And it's really lit a fire underneath me to actually start doing this a hell of a lot more. And like usually I would never do chart work. I wouldn't jump on this. I wouldn't go through this type of stuff with you. I'd just say, listen, follow the trades, which I am still going to be doing. I still place the trades. I still take the L's the same as you do on a sometimes a bigger account, right? So it's not nice. But again, it's like the ride or die thing. It's like a wolf pack. Once we're all in it, we're doing it. We're in it together. We're placing the trades. We're winning together. We're losing together. But you're learning along the way. As long as you're not over leveraging, you're not greedy, you're not gambling, you're not over leveraging, you're not greedy, you're not gambling, you're not over leveraging, you're not greedy, you're not gambling, you will still be here in 6, 12, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I had a guy at the event on Saturday who I don't really keep in contact with that much. He pops up, he shares love on how well I'm doing with what I'm doing right now in business. But he let me know that, he's been getting involved in the trading space a lot more since we met 4 or 5 years ago. He's just quit his job. So imagine 3 to 5 years from now, having that ability to hand in your notice, quit your job, go to your boss and say, listen, this isn't working for me. I'm out of here. Adios. Have a good one. Beautiful day. Like, have the thoughts and the feelings about how that would make you feel by doing that, by getting to a point where you can be like, yeah, I quit my job. I'm out of here. I'm done with it. So if you can have that long-term process in here, the losses are part of the journey. Unfortunately, we can't have a 100% win rate, but I want to get you guys to a point where it feels amazing. So I'm not going to keep this going much longer. 42 minutes in right now. And I want to know if you got value from this. Again, once these live calls finish and they're live on my YouTube, again, I would love you to go back and just start getting into the habit of dropping your biggest takeaway. Because we have a lot of people on here who, they share love on the private, on the back end, and they're talking nicely in the chat right now. But some people are scared to do this publicly. They're scared to post about, their progress, their results, what they're feeling. So again, just get into the habit of taking away some nuggets, taking away or even adding some questions in there. Because I come onto these calls and if I'm honest, 99.99% of the time, it's just off the top of my head. I was doing some stuff before here. I was like, I ain't got a fucking clue what I'm going to talk about. But I come on here and it's like, right, I'm in the zone. Boom, 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 boom. So if you guys get to a point with this where on the live, you're asking questions or, on the feedback of this, when you're watching it back again, you ask questions. I want you guys to get to a point with that where you're doing it. So then next week into the boot camp, right, I can get to a point with this where I can make sure I cover everything that you're thinking about. So again, comment afterwards on this once it goes live, once it's posted. Running the giveaways is nice, but I want to get to a point where it's every week and you guys are in there, because there's a lot of people, saying like, I love this, I want more of it. But if you guys don't speak up, I don't know what you want, right? I always say closed mouths don't get fed. Someone's put, what is revenge trading? Revenge trading is where, number one, you shouldn't have placed the trade. The second thing when it comes to revenge trading is you end up entering the market 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trades. So you're taking revenge out on that one loss that you shouldn't have taken the first time. That is revenge trading. In regards to imbalance, just go back and watch it again. Skip to the parts that are all talking about imbalance. Go through it. And again, ask questions on there. Things that you don't understand. Please go through and start doing that on a consistent basis, because it helps me understand where you guys are struggling, what you're, not having the best possible area with. I can go through and I can cover all of that on these calls, bish, bash, bosh, left, right, and center. So as we go through this and as we wrap this off, I appreciate every single one of you tuning into these lives every single week. I am going to be doing this every single week going forward. I know someone mentioned about Christmas Day. We're not doing it on Christmas. I will be enjoying that with my friends, my family, my network of people around me back at home. But yeah, I just want to say thank you very much to every single person tuning in, jumping in. I'm going to end the stream right now, and I want to see some love on the back end of this. So I appreciate you all. I'm going to go smash a Fanta in, and I'm going to go kick MX's shin for not letting me know that it was dark screened. Let me know if you think I should. There's 57 of you here right now watching this. Let me know if you think I should step right over there and kick MX's shin. Let me know. Everyone's putting yes, yes, please. Oh, ambient is MX. Yes, 100%. Yes, 100. Oh, everyone's saying yes. Let's fucking have him. Joking. Well, really, I should have another screen here. This has just made me realize that I probably should have another screen here and be able to do something with that. But guys and girls, I appreciate you all. My head's starting to tick a little bit. So have a blessed evening. Enjoy the rest of your night. Much love. I will see you all very, very soon. Deuces.